Breaking news! It actually turns out the Black Clover is gonna be on a weekly break next week for some undisclosed reason. A lot of the Shonen Jumps are suddenly becoming very break happy. I guess the manga business is finally catching up to them, and yet people still have the gall to mock Eden Zero. And Hiromashima sings. Well, either way, I decided to review this not because it's gonna be on a break, but because in a way it is actually a relevant chapter. Last week of it all, we saw Zenon's backstory, as well as he was going to make a deal with Beelzebub. The deal is to give him a devil's heart, and in exchange he will give him all of his. This because it turns out that the contract that I guess all the Dark Triads have made with their devils was, or at least Zenon's contract is, as long as the Spade Kingdom is able to continue existing. If as of our contract stipulates, the Spade Kingdom is able to continue existing, I'll even give you my soul. So in a way that's big of the contract. So he'll give him the soul, basically ending his existence. And so he gives him the devil's heart, which he survives the impaling. And so Zenon literally becomes a devil human. And is now devastating more, which he actually managed to defeat Juno in a very short amount of time. It is very satisfying to see that arrogant Juno to be defeated, even though it is against an antagonist. I mean, I don't really like Juno's stale character, or his chaste hero style, or even the fact that he's so emotionless all the time. But he is still a good guy, and I like a good guy. Because, as Zenon points out, you diverted the arrow slightly, and apparently missed the heart completely by Zenon, because he didn't want to hit Langris. So Zenon says, if you sacrifice your comrade, you would have won. I guess that comment though is to solidify the fact that, as I said before, Zenon and Juno are surprisingly alike, but there's also one difference between them, and the difference is comradeship. Because Zenon sacrificed his best friend and rival, and along with it, the last shred of his empathy, in order to win and survive. And despite the fact that Juno is arrogant and looks down on a lot of people, he still embraces friendship, even not as big grand as Asta does though, and still feels like wants everyone to survive, and he wants Langris to survive, so he would never sacrifice a comrade, even if that included he would win. So Juno is out for now, but I have a feeling he's gonna bounce back. I always had a fear that maybe the elf spirit inside of him is gonna reawaken, because I don't think it is gone. But Langris barely also survived. And then he gets saved by none other than Finral, one of the weakest members of Black Bull, who says he's here not to save Langris, but because, well, he's a space magical user and he has to settle the score. So he then actually applies, it is actually showing a little bit the fact that Langris and Finral's spatial magic is a little bit different. As we all know, Finral is not much of an attacker, but he is a defender. So, but his flapping wings beat is actually extremely agile, which is instant teleportation, allowing him to actually diverse every single one of Zenon's abilities. So he's basically saying, even within Zenon's absolute space, Langris' mana so makes it possible to activate spells. And since Finral's is highly agile and accurate, if they combine those skills together, they actually have a stronger set of, a spatial magic. So he says to his little brother, if we're together we can fight. And even though Langris says that Finral is insolent, their hands takes together, brother at last, and so the two spatial magic brothers decides to team up. Can that be enough to counter Zenon? I have no idea. The only thing that can hurt Zenon is a spirit drive of it all. Juno faced an attack. He's not out of the game. He's one of the main characters, but he has to bounce back now. So, well, how will he bounce back? Will he tap into the elf power? Will he tap into something else? Or will there be someone who actually managed to save him? Like Charmy? Well, who knows? Either way, that's basically this chapter. What Zenon does for the Spade Kingdom, though, it's a loyalty that it does not exist within any of the other Dark Triad siblings. And I have to say, that is admirable. Zenon in the end became the most relatable Dark Triad sibling ever, even though I despise all of them. So, yeah, that's basically this chapter. But Zenon's life is now hanging by the thread, because if he dies again, he's dead for good. So give me your thoughts if you have any.